The following is a short clip from RCSA's Regenerative Landscapes webinar, where Marc Sherratt takes us through an elephant migration project in Limpopo.
And then our last project, kind of at a different scale, our elephant migration route project in Limpopo. As we know, elephants are endangered, but in South Africa, we've got an overpopulation of them, and that we have to use culling and Kruger or contraceptive in addo keep their populations down. And elephants are naturally migratory, almost similar to human beings. We want to move. We don't want to be fenced in. And they're very, very smart. So even electric fences don't keep them at bay. So this project is looking at a 1,000-kilometer migration route for elephants that moves them across the Limpopo province, connecting areas that already have African elephant or are big enough to host them. So everything in the red would be the new routes. If we zoom into that, you've got your big kind of public route, which is linking places like the Waterberg with Madikwe, with the Pilansberg. Where we've implemented our proof of concept is this initial area of privately owned land as a different kind of typology versus publicly owned conservation land. These are kind of the landowners of the area. The two blue are the land properties involved in the project. Ratavi wants elephant, Mabula has elephant that keeps breaking fences. And then the two technologies that we've developed is one is an elephant gate that uses AI camera technology to only allow elephants through a fence line. And then these little circles are infrasonic projections. So elephants use infrasound to communicate to about 4 kilometers. We've worked with musicians to design an infrasonic language to communicate with the animal to help them, to educate them on how to use this route. And those sounds project to about 2 kilometers. So the idea is to try and rebrand something like the elephant as something that is not just a conservation asset. People are not just coming from all over the world to see a beautiful elephant. Can we rebrand the elephant as it being critical to rural food security? So feeding them things like the marula tree, which is a staple food across the Limpopo province, incredibly high in protein, high in terms of vitamin C, high vitamin C content in oranges. Feeding elephants these kind of fruiting trees, and their natural ecological role is seed dispersal. So, they would be able to plant these seeds as they move, and something like a marula, which is very fast growing at kind of 1.5 meters per year, starts to kind of reestablish these generally degraded rural lands and starts to increase food security. So by 10 years, you've got, a 13, 14 meter tree with the elephants as the gardeners of this specific landscape. And then the interesting thing for us as architects is what happens if you took your mine dumps and regenerated that and allowed that to be the migration route through the city. How would the city have to change if the elephant was considered an equal citizen, had equal rights as we do? And we're not seeing these realms of urban and rural as completely separate but interconnected. If anyone's seen a spectrograph of an elephant call, this is what it looks like. So we as human beings hear to about 20 hertz. What's below 20 hertz is generally called infrasound. And we're just starting to understand all the information that's within this little band of 20 hertz. We understand now that elephants call each other by different names. There's different dialects, language dialects across Africa. The information in there, it will give an elephant the age of the animal, male or female, if they're on heat or not. And again, this is kind of recent. Last 20, 30 years, we've started to understand how complex elephant language is. So our elephant acoustic specialist, this incredible musician that did his masters on elephant acoustics, started to spectrograph the local species that use low frequency sound in the area, things like southern ground hornbill, which is a threatened bird species, things like frog species, so that when he designed his language for the elephant, it didn't compete with any kind of ecological sound. And then from an architectural point of view, us studying things like elephant skin, which is kind of designed to crack at a microscopic level. Some clever scientists have translated that into a lattice structure. So what happens is when these cracks happen, elephants fill that with dust and water, and that evaporative cooling is what cools the animal because they don't sweat. So we've been able to translate that into a lattice structure that is a Faraday cage that protects the electronic equipment from lightning, and through evaporative cooling also cools itself. So this is the technology. There's a concrete box at the bottom made out of biomass insulated concrete, which is a net positive embodied carbon material. And this is your big megaphone that transmits the sound. Infrasound kind of uses the ground to crawl. I'm sure you've heard in a thunderstorm, the infrasound actually vibrates your building because it's actually moving through the ground. Your DB and computer equipment that controls your AI system, your CCTV, which is your camera, and obviously everything off the grid when it comes from an energy point of view. And then our skill as architects is really to lead these very diverse professional teams. You've got engineers, elephant acoustic experts, ecologists, elephant behavioral experts, sound experts. This guy in the middle is a crazy German speaker manufacturer that made our infrasonic speaker. So the wonderful thing about being in the built environment is you've got these incredibly diverse professionals, but the skill is in leading them towards a successful product. And our problems are so difficult, so complex. You need a lot of very, very smart different professionals, but you need to lead them in such a way that gets to an overall product, an overall solution. And that's really what I think the real skill of architects is. This is our infrasonic speaker. So again, most speakers obviously are designed for human hearing. We had to design one to play infrasound. And it was so weird standing in front of this where the sound moves through your body. You can't hear it, but you can feel the water in your body vibrating. Kind of a potential for a deadly weapon, in my opinion. And then this was a big breakthrough for us last year where we were able to coordinate the systems that the AI was correctly able to identify what an elephant looks like, open the gate for that specific animal, and the elephant being trained to understand the language in terms of this is now a safe time to use the gate using the infrasound. And at the moment, the project is still training this elephant herd in Limpopo. That's happened the whole of this year with very, very successful outcomes. This is our elephant acoustic expert on-site training elephant. And we finally be able to secure our first potential built project in the Eastern Cape. So being able to scale this from a proof of concept to a real world context is a big deal.
Thank you for watching this short clip on RCSA's Regenerative Landscapes webinar. Like and subscribe for more inspirational content.